I'm like, okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Ellen Ray Bennett, founder and chief brand officer of Hedley and Bennett, a company that I was just starting when you and I first met. So crazy.
Yeah, that's true. And my name is Daniel Shemtob. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Snibbs, and we are here today to talk about something really great that we created together. So I think it would be fun for myself and just kind of for everyone that's kind of listening to this to look back at memory lane and just remember our story because how we met, and I don't know if you remember very well, but I do, was pretty kismet and also pretty special. So I remember I found out about your aprons through my ex-business partner, Jason Quinn, who I started the Lime Truck with. And he's like, "Oh my God, you gotta check out these aprons. They're really cool. And you're about to open your restaurant. You should see if she'll give you some aprons." And so I look up Ellen and Bennett and I see it's 3 doors down from where I live. So in downtown Atlanta.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. I could see out my window into your world. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go over there and introduce myself and see if I could buy some aprons. So I come over there and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Daniel. I'm opening a restaurant downtown. I'd love to get some aprons from you." And I remember you were like, "Great. How many do you want?" And I was like, "Well, how much are there?" And you're like, "They're 105 retail." And I said, "Okay, but like I'm here in person and I have cash. Am I going to get a discount?" And you're like, "Nope." And I was like, "All right. I love this energy." I was like, "This girl is sharp and she knows her worth and she knows her value." And I remember I got those aprons and I went into my kitchen and I gifted one to each of the starting team, my culinary team. And that was the first time we met. And then, yeah, that was really special to me. And I think the thing that I really loved after we became close, fast friends was that you made me, and I actually lost it in the fire, but I wanted to bring it up on this call, was you made me a gray and lime green apron. And I remember you coming to me and being like, "This is a gift for you." And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And you're like, "You don't understand how special it is. Like, I had to get this lime green trim and I had to make it for you. And it was all this work." And I was like, "No, I love it." And I've kept it for like, I don't know, how long ago was that? 10 years, 8 years, something like that.
That was like 11 years ago. We're getting
Damn.
old. We got the war
Yeah.
wounds and the gray hairs to prove it. Yeah, no, I
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
when you busted into my office to buy aprons that day, that was our first office, and I think I was still working at Providence, and I literally couldn't afford to give anyone anything because every order was a little foundational brick on the bottom layer of the Hedley and Bennett world, and you were a big brick in that. So thank you for
I think the
thank
$400
you.
didn't make that much of a difference, but I'll
Oh,
take
oh
your
my
word
God, are
for
you kidding me? Back in the day, $100 was like a gift from the gods. I think
it.
our
Yeah.
monthly rent at our little office you went to was $400 a month. And
There you
I
go.
had
So
to
I
get
know
my aunt to co-sign it for me because they wouldn't give me the lease by myself. I
I
was
know.
24. Oh, crazy time.
Uh,
No, well,
that is
I
crazy.
remember you were starting the lime truck and you were like this super friendly guy that lived down the street. And we just started, anytime I was hungry, I'd be like, "Daniel, let's go eat something." And then we'd meet up on the street corner and you'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm doing 8,000 things." And I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, 20,000 things. And we would just bring all of our shit together and try and figure it out while we were both just honestly like building the plane as we were flying it. And we both had big visions and big ambitions, but we were at the beginning of the journey.
That's for sure. Yeah, I remember riding bikes around and going to Grand Central Market and just having a blast in downtown. And
Yeah.
I remember
Yes.
remember when my buddy was sick and we were cooking and making food till like 2 in the morning, homemade chicken noodles from scratch. I was gonna do that for our big entrance. I was gonna
Yeah,
spend all the
you were like
time.
my long lost brother that I had never had. I was all of a sudden I had like a buddy that I could just run around and do shit with that was just as entrepreneurial as I was. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but a lot of my friends were not entrepreneurs, and you were one of the first people that I met in my journey that was also trying to build something. So we had a lot more in common than we realized. And I just always respected how much hustle and drive you had. And I think both of our families were like immigrant backgrounds. Like there's a big piece of us that are just like the underdogs trying to make something of ourselves in the world. And I remembered that about you when I first met you, and I was like, this guy, he's a good egg. Like I want to keep him around because he's awesome and he's gonna be my friend. Like I was like a
Oh, yeah, I
5-year-old
know. And
selecting
look,
my friends.
we've done it for 11 years now. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And now we get to work together and collaborate, which I think is just
I
super
know.
cool.
I love how full circle this is, that we basically were starting our companies at the same time. And then you later on decided to start Snibbs. And I still remember when you were like, I'm going to make the perfect shoe for the restaurant industry. And I was like, that's awesome and very ambitious. And then you did it. And now we get to do something together. And I'm psyched about it. They're so awesome. And obviously, I've been wearing the hell out of them. And I have them at home. And Casey has them at home. And our office is full of them. It's just, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud of this.
Same. And I think it's been so like I always wondered what it took to be like a Hedley product. And I think I learned firsthand how difficult it is to get through the gate of products because I think we first brought this idea to your doorstep, I want to say 3 years ago. So we had just launched about for a year. We started to get some good feedback. And I was like, man, I think the perfect collaboration is the two of us. And I came to you and you were like, yes, let's go. And then we started working with Casey and with you and with the design team. And I think, Brett, our designer, would be happy to say that I feel like we've made at least 40 revisions of that shoe, which is similar to when we first launched. And luckily, we made something that's so special and so beautiful that I just think it's like the perfect collaboration. And it's just, I mean, I don't know. I just love it. Like we took one of our most popular shoes, the Orbit, which is all about movement, which when you think about this chef that's in and out of the kitchen, that's running around the world, you think about you think about me, you're running in and out of environments. This shoe is waterproof on the upper, slip resistant on the bottom. It's got a wide toe box for your feet to swell as you're on your feet all day. And so creating that perfect shoe with you and your team was no easy feat. And there is a pun in there. But I think we did it. And I think it's really cool that we got to do it. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too. And I just think it's super rad. The inspiration and the vibe. It was obviously everything we do is so function oriented. And it's all about the function first, and then we make it look good. But to be able to invent this thing together, I feel like the inspiration is a little bit of, all weather hiking sneaker, Solomon vibes meets a kitchen shoe. And it's like all terrain in life, but here it's all terrain of the kitchen. And I feel like you can do anything in it. And what I really love about it is that it's like nice to stand in, but it's also nice to move in. And I think a lot of times kitchen shoes can be nice to stand in like a clog, but they're not necessarily nice to move around in and crouch down and open the low boy and clean the walk in and, get on your hands and knees and like scrub out the pit that just like overflowed, like you got to get into the dish pit. You got to climb upstairs. There's so much movement, and this shoe does it.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been thinking about like, have you ever seen a kitchen shoe like this? Like it just doesn't, this isn't in the world of kitchen shoes, like, and I think that's what's so
Well, you guys are such nerds
deadly
about it.
about it.
That's why I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this because you're super deeply nerdy about making this awesome. And the fact that you evolved like an orthopedic he's a surgeon, right?
Yeah, he's a surgeon.
Yeah, like you involved an orthopedic surgeon to create this shoe, Dr. Snibbs. And we're such nerds about how we make stuff. And that's the way to go. I'm like nerded out all day because it brings the function to the people that are wearing it all day. If it's someone's inventing a shoe and they're not even a cook, they don't even know what cooks need. But we are cooks. We're making stuff for the cooks, and it's legit. It's honest. It's real. And I'm obsessed with how comfortable they are.
Thanks. Yeah. And I mean, that's really what it's all about. And it's like we have a 30-day risk-free trial because we care about the cook. We want them to be feeling good about their footwear. And if they don't, we're going to take it back and we'll deal with it. And I think that's I like the idea of nerding out about it because, let's talk about timing because the timing is wild. So when I went to create this product, I mean, I was talking to you about it. Hold on. So I was talking about Snibbs in 2015. That's the first time I came up with the idea. And I think I talked to you about it within my first 3 months of like conceptualizing it. Yeah. And we launched it in March of 2020. I was in China when COVID was happening and we came back, got the shoes and the world shut down. And that was really bad timing. But what was really weird about it was I decided that at that time I was never going to sell a product to our industry because it didn't feel right. This is the wrong time to sell to something when everyone's hurting. So we just ended up giving away shoes and meals. And it ended up being this great catalyst of growth because we were doing something good and our community, I think, earned a lot of goodwill and it sold. And that brings us to the Hedley and Bennett shoe, which we've been working on for pretty much 3 years. And we're launching it when both of our worlds have been really turned upside down. And so I don't know if you kind of want to share your story and then I'll share mine, but like what has happened since these California wildfires have happened in your life?
Yeah, I mean, January sure took a sharp left turn. I live in Pasadena. My mom lives in Altadena, and we lost our childhood home in the fires. We also lost 10,000 structures, and my neighbors and my just everything we grew up with is gone. 50% of Altadena burned to the ground, which is insane. And that's 7 minutes from my house where I currently live. So not only were we evacuated and displaced, my son's school burnt down, Waldorf in Pasadena. And it's just been the craziest upheaval I've ever seen. I mean, COVID was like, whoa, this is aggressive. And this somehow feels a little more aggressive because it's all these people, right? I don't know. You can't even compare. It's just two major life tragedies. And yeah, like I was thrown on the front lines in COVID and I threw myself on the front lines of this. And what I think is wild is, I have been on Instagram, like helping rally supplies for all these different families that lost everything at Waldorf and different people in our community, and just trying to help everywhere I can with the Hedley and Bennett world and getting kitchen supplies to people and, aprons to frontline workers that are making meals for everybody. And then suddenly I see you at the line truck down the street in Altadena, like 2 minutes from where my mom's house used to be, serving out meals for World Central Kitchen. And I was just like, wow, this is really crazy timing. And I just can't even believe you're here, and you're here because our town burned down. Like the whole thing was so insane. Like, can you believe this happened 16 days ago? Like it's jarring how crazy. I'm still reeling from all of it. But the thing that's helping me stay afloat, and I know this is true for you, is like helping for me is healing. And when I'm not doing something to contribute to the improvement of something, I feel so much more burdened with the weight of the pain and the loss of everybody. But if I can like pick up one thing, help one person, then help another person, I feel like I'm doing my part. And not only am I helping them, but I'm helping myself. Like everybody wins. So I've just been in like go mode, trying to help my mom get back on her feet. Like she was 70 years old. Her house is gone. Everything is gone. And then helping the Waldorf community and all these other families that I know on like on these two hands, I can count 4 times how many people I know that have lost their homes, like 40 plus people personally that I know that lost their individual homes.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I remember, so I know you know this, but we lost our home day one in the fire, and
Same.
it was that, right? It was like one of those things where the first reaction was depression because,
Yeah.
this home with my pregnant wife, like where we wanted to build our whole environment, where we had her parents on our street, my brother 5 minutes down the road, her brother 5 minutes down this road. Like we had built this idea for
World,
perfection.
this ideal
Yeah.
world.
And in a moment, like I remember I was talking to my team and I was like, I just finished my shoe wall in my office, and every shoe that we've been made that I'm so proud of is on this wall, and everything that I've like worked so hard for, like it felt like it, and we were vested really deeply in that house. And in a moment, it was gone, and I did go into depression. And then I remembered, and not everyone's, I'm not saying that this has to be everybody, but I remembered how we are. And we are active people. We are people that know that you have to give back. You have to get out there and do something, or we wouldn't have our businesses and we wouldn't be able to help others.
Yeah.
And that's what was so crazy is we had been planning this launch. Actually, I think the official date of this launch came last February. So it's been a year that we've been planning this launch. And when I thought about, and I talked to the team about like launching a polished product that is so great. We made such a great shoe together, but like launching it in its traditional fashion of being like this really cool photography and beautiful everything. Like it didn't feel like what's happening in our lives right now. What's happening in our lives right now is action. It's taking care of others. It's giving back to the community. It's being selfless and somehow taking care of ourselves. And, for you, your mom, for me, my wife, like all this burden that we have, but it's kind of beautiful in that way. And that's why I was like, Snibbs has to do some more. And this partnership, it was too kismet. It was too aligned for us to give back. And before I do that, I do want to share this is how sweet Ellen is. So she says on, how much she's been doing. I told Ellen I don't have an apron anymore because I lost all my aprons and I was really excited. And this is what I got. This is the most generous box. It's a lot different than I know that the building blocks of paying rent, but this box alone makes up for everything in my whole entire life. I have aprons. I've got some of the coolest kitchen utensils that I've been waiting to open because we were on this call, which I haven't cooked in this kitchen yet. We're in a sublet for a month, but like these dope utensils, dope different materials, and it's like all these. I mean, look at how cool these kitchen shears are, and it's just so beautiful that you got to do this for me. And it's like I will pay it forward, and I'm just really grateful that this is how you get to do things. I don't know. It just means a lot to me, and I wanted to share it to the world. Whoa, that was cool. I wanted to share it to the world because it really means a lot to me, and that's what we're doing for others. I mean, Snibbs has given away already 500 plus pairs of shoes. Lime Truck's given away thousands of meals. Like you guys have done so much, and so it comes to Snibbs with the Hedley and Bennett shoe that we're both really proud of. We're going to be giving a percentage of proceeds back to the workers who have been displaced, to the families that have been displaced, because that's what we need to do, right? And like that's the next stage of this. And we're going to have more shoe launches. Like we're going to have way cool products. We're going to have that moment where we get to do that shiny release that we've dreamt of. But for right now, I love the rawness of it, and I just want to get it out to the world. And I'm grateful I get to help people with you.
100%. God, I don't, yeah. It's hard to put into words what has happened to our city in these last 2 weeks. And I like to say a lot like, oh, the media overhyped it. I'm like, there's nothing overhyped about what is happening here. Like what happened is a huge part of LA burnt to the ground, and it's really intense. And our own families have been deeply affected by it. And it's really hard. It's really hard. I know that you and I are both genuinely struggling behind the scenes with the weight of like you are about to have a kid and your home is gone. My mom's home is gone. Our childhood home is gone. Like that's an
school is gone. I mean, it's everything. My brother's house is
school is gone. Like it's just people that I grew up loving and respecting that were down the street that are 70, 80 years old. Their homes are gone. And when you look at all that, like the weight is so heavy. And you could say this shoe isn't going to save that, but you know what? It saves community and it brings us together. And I don't think that this town is going to get rebuilt with one swift action. It's going to get rebuilt with millions of tiny actions by a community rallying together and being like, I'm going to be a drop of water and I'm going to be another drop of water. And next thing you know, we have an ocean of water, like changing the situation. And that's what we are. We're just like trying to do our part. We make aprons, kitchen tools, you make shoes, and everyone's bringing it. Like restaurants make food, and we're all bringing what we can to the table. And I'm super happy and honored that we get to like do our piece to help build this place back together again. And yeah, this is not a time for shine. It's a time for like just reality check, and taking care of people, and community, I think, is at the forefront of what you and I have always stood for. And we're just like super scrappy founders that want good things in the world. And I think this shoe represents that.
Amen. I love it. It's launching next Friday on the 7th. Proceeds are going to go back to help these people. I'm excited that we get to do something like this. And hopefully this is the start of a beautiful collaboration partnership forever. But either way, I'm just really grateful we get to do this.
Oh, me too. So much love to the Snibbs team and to you. And I'm so happy to have our friendship now going 11 years strong. We've had marriages, babies, COVID, gray hairs. It's crazy. And we're still standing. So kudos to both of us. And shout out to our teams at Hedley and Bennett and Snibbs for pulling off this magical shoe.
Amen.